Okay, time, space, theory, time. Um, but this is probably going to end up being a bit of a series because it's essentially a theory of everything as we know it, as we experience it, as we know it, even beyond that. All right, so the nature of reality. Um, okay, the nature of reality is a circle, right? You can tell the nature. Okay, the nature of reality is material, right? I guess that's the first thing. The nature of reality is material. Um, at the same time, reality, but how we experience the material and our psychological, physiological, chemical, emotional responses to those things are also part of the reality. So it's not material in that it's measurable necessarily, but rather material as in tangible, even unto oneself, right? Um, 'Cause that encompasses all that we know or even think, imagine, I suppose. I don't know. I guess that's limiting, but okay, so time is an illusion, right? It is. It's a way that we measure reality, our experience of reality. Reality's experience of itself, even, I suppose. But it's a matter of indefinity. Like that's the reason that science is able to be the process that it is because it's based on a mathematics that, although definitive and verifiable within its own system, is lacking in its capacity to define the grandest experience of reality beyond what can be measured. Which really truly is like it's the concept of the greatest things in life are free, but like that on a very grand scale. Not just not paid for with money, but not paid for with energy, not paid for with resources, not paid for with time, but rather just received, right? That's like the greatest freedom. And that's what we're all seeking, and like, where does that come from? Where does that concept come from? Because what we experience, and if we were to truly define reality by our experience of it, we experience that pain, suffering, trials, struggle, hard work and labor, even just the process of like having to create waste being inevitable, the material energetic balance, the fact that there's nothing that you can give without something having to be taken. There's nothing that you can take without something having to have been given. So like there's always this interaction between the dichotomy of any perspective of this reality. But that duality in of itself comes from a perception of a duality, right? You wouldn't be able to conceive of the dichotomy. There isn't a dichotomy. That in of itself is an illusion, as time is an illusion. It's a way that we choose to measure our reality. The dichotomy is because, we're built that way. It's not far off from just the way that we're built. We have a left side, right side brain. We have left side, right side of our bodies. We have the way that we are constructed. But even if it weren't that, even if we were like a worm, right? The way that we are separate and of ourselves from that which has created us and sustains us, and to which we ultimately go back into the earth, and all of the chemistry, everywhere that we're interacting with at all times. There's still an innate sense of dichotomy when you have when you can perceive a perspective. There is a dichotomy because you are able to. It's that's the level between Homo sapien. No, what was right before Homo erectus? The concept of being able to stand up in order to gain yourself favor for survival, hunting or, just protection purposes or whatever, came from a natural response to a perception of a dichotomy. There suddenly became a realization that there was something different. And in the manifestation of the different, or in the even just acceptance of the different, became a perception of a dichotomy, right? I mean, it's just innate into it. It's the concept of the singularity. And it's funny that I